welcome back to my channel. This is Prepping by Faith, and today we are going to be making some beef soup out of this vegetable stew blend by Augason Farms. I'm going to go ahead and open up this can so that we can test it out. Make sure this is something that is really good and that everybody will want to add to their preps. I think it's important that we go ahead and test these items out. I've had this for quite a while, and I haven't tried it yet, so I want to go ahead and figure out some ways to use this. I am going to make this beef based. This has some carrots, potatoes, onions, bell peppers, celery, and cabbage inside of it, so I feel like it's got a nice variety in there. I'm also going to drain a can of whole kernel corn, and then we're going to put a can of diced tomatoes in here. I'm going to throw in a hot pepper, a bay leaf. I do have some hamburger, some ground beef I'm going to put in here that I'm going to fry up as well. And so we're going to get started on this in just a second. Okay guys, so I have a pound of ground beef inside of this pot. I did put a good amount of garlic salt in here, and then I am also going to go ahead and add some fresh garlic to this. So I'm just going to get some of this minced garlic. I like to go ahead and just get any jar will do. And I'm not going to get a ton out of here. I'm just going to get about this much on the end of a teaspoon. And we're going to go ahead and drop that in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this all stirred up, browned off, and then I will bring you back as soon as we go to add the other things. So this looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add my carton of beef broth over here to this lovely pot, and hopefully this pot is going to hold all of this. I just went with it should, because according to measurements, we'll see what happens. And I'm not making a huge pot just because I wanted to go ahead and, like, you know, test this out and see if this is something we're even going to really like or not like. This is kind of how I would go about making a regular batch of soup. So I'm wondering if this pot is actually going to hold everything, because I've got to put 2 cups of vegetables in here. Yeah, it is going to be really full. So hold on one second and we'll get those in here too. There were a few things I wanted to go ahead and add about this lovely product here. The wonderful thing about it is that it is really affordable. So I went ahead and broke down the cost per person as far as making this meal with everything that I added to it, including the corn and the beef stock and the tomatoes. It ended up being about $3.27 per person for this meal. That included the meat, everything, and then these vegetables. So these vegetables we're only adding up to about $1.19 per person. So I'm actually feeling like this is a really affordable option to a variety of vegetables, and having that variety for a base for soups in your preps, because as we know, a lot of these fresh vegetables are getting really, really expensive, and I think it's actually costing us more right now to purchase, say, your celery, your carrots, your potatoes, cabbage, all of the components that you need to make a pot of soup. It's actually going to be cheaper to buy something like this and save it for your preps. Right now, Amazon has this on sale for $23.89. I'm going to go ahead and link it for you guys in the description box in case you want to check it out, in case you want to purchase a can to try it. I'm not pressuring you guys to try it, but I do have quite a bit of this in my preps, and after I open this, I went ahead and ordered even some more than what I already have, just because I feel like it is such an outstanding item. So I went ahead and put 1 cup in. I'm going to add about another cup to this, and then I'm just going to give everything a stir. And this is going to take about a half an hour. So I went ahead and put my corn in here. I've got my can of tomatoes in here. And then I've got all these lovely vegetables in here. And so they say this is going to take about 30 minutes. Now, if you didn't have fresh ground beef, you could go ahead and use something like a can of Keystone, or you could go ahead and use some that you had already pressure canned yourself, whatever it is that you had on hand in an shtf like event. The other thing is, if you didn't have some beef stock, you could go ahead and use just water, and you could add some cubes. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a bay leaf in here, and I'm also going to put one of these peppers just for a little bit of heat. So we're going to put this guy down in there. Stir this around a little bit. All right, I'm going to drop this little pepper down in there. And I'm just going to use a smaller one because this isn't like a huge pot of soup and I don't want to put too much heat in here. My youngest doesn't like things really spicy, but I find that these add like a little kick to the soup. So we're going to go ahead and put that in here, and then we'll fish it out later once this is done cooking. And of course we'll fish out that bay leaf as well. The other thing is sometimes these things can get just a skosh bitter. So just adding a sprinkle of sugar, just a little tiny bit, can kind of help things out as well. So we're going to do that. I'm going to stir this around, and we're going to see what we get. Not only can you go ahead, like I said, and change the broth of the soup, you could thicken it into a stew, you can change the seasonings up, you could even go ahead and use these vegetables if you wanted to rehydrate them and put them into something like a minced pie, something like that. You could also do with this. I feel like it's very versatile. Like I said, I think it's actually going to be more affordable right now than just purchasing all of your fresh vegetables. It may be cheaper to go canned. I don't know. I didn't do the math on that. So that's always another option as well. But, you know, some of these things we can't get canned, like your cabbage. That becomes a little bit more tricky, especially for, you know, a base like a soup. So this, I think, is an awesome thing to have in your preps. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. If you guys have tested this out yourselves, go ahead and leave that in the comment section for me, because I love hearing all of you guys' feedback and your comments, and I appreciate it.
Just to
Thanks,
make
guys.
sure. But now we're going to go ahead and give this a bite. It's very, very hot right now with all the vegetables and everything in it. So give me a second, because it is very, very hot and I don't want to burn myself. It looks really pretty though, doesn't it? And it smells good. I know you guys can't smell it, but even when I opened up the can of vegetables, I thought it smelled really, really good. And the great thing about this too is that it really doesn't take that long to put together. It's really easy to put together. So for those of you that aren't, you know, big cooks, this is super easy to do. It's really good, guys. I really like it. If you guys really don't like a lot of salt, then I would suggest maybe you don't go ahead and put garlic salt in it. You could use garlic powder. I did use fresh garlic too. So if you didn't want that, because I know that the vegetables do have a little bit of salt in them, and then of course you have the salt from the beef broth. So if you don't want a lot of extra salt, don't add the garlic salt to it. It's all according to you guys' taste, right? So I don't see what some people are saying in the community. I've heard some people say that all this stuff is like a salt lick. I completely disagree with that. I have added garlic salt to this as well as the beef broth, and I don't think that it's too salty at all. So if you just had the vegetables and you didn't have anything else even added to it, there's no way this is too salty. So I don't know where those comments are coming from. As you can see, there's a nice variety. You can see the carrots in there. You can see the little pieces of potatoes. It does have quite a bit of onion flavor to it, so don't add any extra onion. I would not. I deliberately left any extra onion out of this just to make sure, because I wanted to test their vegetables and not add a bunch to it. Like I said, I did add the tomatoes and I did add the corn. But it is very tasty, and I would definitely eat this again. The wonderful thing about the Augason Farms vegetables is that you can really use it for a base in any kind of soup that you want, and it doesn't have to be beef-based. You could go ahead and do chicken. That's another option that you could do with it. You know, so you can always add other things to it, other elements. If you don't want a bay leaf in there, if you don't want it, a pepper with the extra spice, you just tweak it to your needs, what you like. And I think it is an awesome thing to go ahead and add to your preps. I really like it, and I'm glad I have a lot of this in my prep. So if you guys have enjoyed this video today, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And remember to pray, prep, and put God first. God bless.